Portugal came into this World Cup with one of the most talented squads on the planet, a team packed with stars, a team filled with Champions League winners, a team many people believed could finally bring Portugal its first ever FIFA World Cup. But instead of talking about tactics, instead of talking about João Neves, Bruno Fernandes, Rafael Leão, Bernardo Silva, or Ruben Dias, the football world is talking about one man, Cristiano Ronaldo, again. And over the last few days, the noise surrounding Portugal has become so loud that some people are calling it a civil war inside the Portuguese camp. Former teammates are arguing, pundits are divided, social media is in chaos, and every conversation somehow leads back to Cristiano Ronaldo. So what is actually happening? Is Portugal falling apart? Is Ronaldo becoming a distraction? Or are we witnessing another example of football's biggest superstar being blamed for everything? Today I'm breaking down the entire story because the truth is much more complicated than the headlines suggest. The drama really exploded after Portugal's opening World Cup match. On paper, Portugal should have comfortably beaten DR Congo. Instead, they were held to a frustrating draw. Suddenly, the criticism began. Fans questioned the tactics, pundits questioned the lineup, and almost immediately, attention shifted toward Cristiano Ronaldo, his movement, his finishing, his age, his place in the starting 11. Everything became a debate. The result itself wasn't catastrophic. Portugal still had every chance of progressing, but the reaction was massive. Because when Cristiano Ronaldo is involved, nothing remains a normal football discussion. Every moment becomes a global story. Here's something many people forget. Cristiano Ronaldo is not treated like any other footballer, hasn't been for nearly 20 years. When another player misses a chance, it's analyzed. When Ronaldo misses a chance, it's discussed across the entire football world. When another player struggles for form, it's a football story. When Ronaldo struggles for form, it becomes an international debate. That's the burden that comes with becoming one of the most famous athletes in sporting history. Whether you love him or hate him, nobody attracts attention quite like Cristiano Ronaldo, and Portugal knows it. In fact, defender Diogo Dalot revealed that the Portuguese squad actually discussed this before the tournament even started. They knew criticism would come, they expected headlines, they prepared for it in advance. According to Dalot, the team had conversations about ignoring social media noise and staying united regardless of outside opinions. That tells you everything. Portugal didn't prepare only for opponents, they prepared for the Ronaldo storm. Then came another controversy. João Neves found himself dragged into a media storm after comments and interpretations began spreading across social media. Suddenly, people were analyzing body language, interviews, facial expressions, training ground interactions. Every little detail was treated as evidence of division. But here's the problem. Very little of it was actually verified. Most of it was speculation. And that's often what happens when football narratives start growing faster than facts. One headline becomes another. One opinion becomes a rumor. One rumor becomes a supposed crisis. Before long, people are talking about dressing room problems without any confirmed proof. And that is exactly where Portugal finds itself today. Let's address the biggest question directly. Is there actually a civil war inside Portugal's camp? Based on publicly available information, there is no confirmed evidence of a dressing room collapse. There is no verified report proving players are divided into pro-Ronaldo and anti-Ronaldo groups. There is no confirmed mutiny. There is no confirmed rebellion against the coaching staff. What does exist is criticism. Lots of criticism, and criticism is normal at a World Cup, especially when expectations are enormous. The problem is that criticism often gets confused with crisis. Those are not the same thing. Portugal may be under pressure. Portugal may be frustrated. Portugal may be struggling. But struggling and collapsing are two completely different things. Whenever Cristiano Ronaldo is criticized, one man usually appears sooner or later, Roy Keane. And once again, the former Manchester United captain found himself defending Ronaldo. This isn't surprising. Keane has consistently praised Ronaldo's mentality, professionalism, and ability to deliver under pressure. For Keane, Ronaldo's achievements speak for themselves. Over 20 years at the top, hundreds of goals, league titles, Champions League trophies, European Championship glory, an extraordinary career that few athletes in any sport could match. Keane's argument is simple. You don't suddenly become a bad player because of a few difficult matches. You don't erase 2 decades of greatness overnight, and many fans agree with him. But not everyone sees it that way. Some former players and pundits believe Portugal's future depends on moving beyond Ronaldo. Their argument isn't about disrespect, it's about football evolution. Every generation eventually changes. Every legendary player eventually ages. Every great team eventually moves forward. The critics believe Portugal has enough talent to build a system that isn't completely dependent on Ronaldo, and to be fair, that's not an unreasonable football argument. Portugal's squad is loaded with talent. Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Rafael Leão, Vitinha, João Neves, Ruben Dias, Diogo Dalot. This isn't a one-man team, not even close. The real question is whether Portugal can maximize that talent while still benefiting from Ronaldo's presence. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Lionel Messi. Because somehow every Ronaldo discussion eventually becomes a Messi discussion. It happens every time. Every goal, every assist, every trophy, every tournament, every statistic. The comparisons never stop, and during this World Cup they have intensified again. Partly because this may be the final World Cup for both players, two legends, two icons, two careers that defined an entire generation. Fans know the clock is running out, so every performance feels more important, every moment feels historic, and that creates even more pressure, not just on the players, but on the conversation surrounding them. One thing I find fascinating is how Ronaldo has become bigger than football itself. At some point, the conversation stopped being purely about goals and trophies. Now Ronaldo is a global phenomenon, a business empire, a media magnet, a social media giant. One of the most recognizable people on earth. That level of fame changes everything. A normal football story becomes international news. A tactical discussion becomes a political debate. A substitution becomes a week-long controversy. Very few athletes in history have experienced this level of scrutiny, perhaps none. Let's put the drama aside for a moment. Forget social media, forget television debates, forget fan wars. Let's focus on football. The real question is simple. Can Cristiano Ronaldo still help Portugal win the World Cup? I think the answer is yes, but maybe not in the exact same way he did 10 years ago. 25-year-old Ronaldo was unstoppable. 30-year-old Ronaldo was devastating. 41-year-old Ronaldo is different. Experience replaces speed. Positioning replaces explosiveness. Leadership replaces physical dominance. That's normal. Every great athlete adapts. The smartest coaches understand this. The smartest players understand it too. This is where Roberto Martinez enters the picture, because ultimately he has the hardest job. Not the fans, not the media, not the pundits, the coach. He's responsible for balancing respect for a legend with the needs of the team. And that's not easy. Every decision involving Ronaldo becomes a headline. Start him, headline. Bench him, headline. Substitute him, headline. Leave him on, headline. Martinez is managing both football and politics at the same time, and that might be the toughest challenge of this entire tournament. The beautiful thing about football is that narratives change quickly. One win changes everything. One goal changes everything. One great performance changes everything. The same people criticizing today could be celebrating tomorrow. The same headlines predicting disaster could disappear after a single victory. That's football, and that's why writing off Portugal would be a mistake. This team still has quality. This team still has depth. This team still has experience. And yes, this team still has Cristiano Ronaldo. So, is Portugal experiencing a civil war? Based on what we know right now, no. There is pressure, there is criticism, there is debate, but there is no confirmed evidence of the complete collapse some headlines are suggesting. What we're really witnessing is something we've seen for almost 2 decades, the Cristiano Ronaldo effect. A football story becoming a global story, a player becoming bigger than the sport itself. And whether Portugal succeeds or fails in this World Cup, one thing is certain, the world will be watching. Because Cristiano Ronaldo's final chapters are still being written, and football isn't ready to stop reading them. What do you think? Is Ronaldo still Portugal's biggest strength, or has he become their biggest distraction? Let me know in the comments.